Here's a old Seth Thomas mantle clock movement. I'm gonna focus in on a particular problem that I've run across many times, and that is the fast-slow regulator. This clock has been abused a little bit. It's in dire need of refurbishment. I'm gonna zoom in here. Let's see if I can get that. So we're looking at the fast-slow regulator piece, and right away you notice the pinion is backed out and jammed up here. The sleeve here that holds the rod is, adjusting rod is bent, and then, oh, there it wants to run. And then we look up here and we see that the actual adjusting rod is broken. Let me get back a little bit. This is my first video for this stuff. Okay, so you see that's broken right up in here, and then the little sleeve that rod runs through has also been busted off, and that fits up underneath the suspension post here. So we're going to look at rebuilding this piece so that it functions properly. Okay, we'll just take this apart quick, pull this off, pull that through. See, it wants to tick. Excuse me. Okay. Take that out of there. Tension washer. Okay, that thing's stuck on there. See if I can push that back through. Well, we're going to have to finagle that out of there. There we go. Excuse me. Of course, I have to cough here, but okay. Oh, that's hung up a little bit. She's pretty bent up. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. I've got some things picked out here. What I like to do is use a little bit bigger rod than what was in there. A couple reasons. I can rethread this piece, and when I thread this, then it'll be a good match, and it gives it a little bit more strength. I've let down the power and the mainsprings, and we'll take the plate apart in a little bit. I'm going to drill out for a free fit here for this rod in this little piece. I'm going to use this little holder here. Actually, this reminds me that fella on YouTube, ClickSpring, has some pretty good videos. You should check him out. But he made a little drilling holder. You can drill round stock and clamp different things down. That would be perfect for this. So I'm going to have to visit his site again. Check him out. He's pretty good. So I'm going to drill this out quick. Okay, we'll deburr that later. Let's just make sure it fits properly. Yeah, that's a nice fit. And then we will tap this with a tap. What size do I have here? Number 348. And then I'll thread it, the brass piece. And what I also did is I made a cutter. Now, let's see, get in there. I made this cutter, and my goal here when I build a clock or do any restoration work is to make my own cutters. And we'll get into doing that in some other videos. So hopefully this works good. I'm going to set up for the brass blank. I'm going to use a C360 brass rod. I'll turn it to dimensions, and then we'll put it in the dividing head and divide out our number of leaves for this. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I found some brass C360. I need to turn it down to 8.17 millimeter. I'm going to drill a hole in the end here to, I'm going to have to make it square when I get all done. So the smallest part of your square is the size hole I'm making, and then I'll hand file that out. Let's see how this goes with video as far as noise and stuff here. This thing runs kind of loud. Let's get going. Okay, I've got my piece chucked up over here. I'm going to tell you the truth. I drilled the little hole in here too big. I grabbed the wrong drill bit. Anyway, mistakes happen, and we just have to fix them. So I've lined up my cutter with my tailstock center, and it all looks good. I like to use this. I've got this little magnifier glass. I don't know where it came from. Just ended up with it. And it's good to zoom in on that when I'm lining that up. Just a little bit can make a difference. So let's, I got the blue on here because I want to see where I'm at. I need to cut in about 2.3 millimeter, maybe a little bit less, but I'm going to just watch it and see what happens. We're going to climb cut. I'll set all this up and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm just touching off. We've got 8 leaves, so we need 8 divisions. My dividing head is a 40-to-1, so 5 cranks in any hole will give me that. We'll reset all my measurements here. Okay, and back this up. We're going to go in a pretty good amount to start with. Just run it in 1 millimeter. See what happens. Lock this down. My dividing head's ready. And we're cut. See if I get in your way. No. Crank up the speed a little bit on this. It's cutting pretty good. So I might do that anyway. Let's do that. Okay, let's see. see. Let's see how that does. So we'll get it up to like 900, around 900 RPM. That might be funner. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like that better. Okay, I did run these in just 0.1 millimeter to clean them up on the mill, and then I did face it and part them off. Here's our two little pinions. We got, if I overlay them, you know, if we're trying to match up something here, it's pretty darn close. These are all mucked up, so it's really hard to tell. The trick is going to be if it actually functions. So you can see how worn out this one is here. Banged up. After I mount them, usually there's a little dome on the end of these. It's domed a little bit. So once I mount them on the shaft, then I'll use the watchmaker's lathe and a graver to put a little bit of a curve on the top of that. And they run a little bit better when they're like that. So let's hope they work. And I'll put my squares on there. I'll show you how I set that up. And we should be set to go. Oh, and then we'll tap out, once we do the new threads, I'll tap out the other side of this. The threads on here. We've drilled it out here already. Re-tap it up here. And if I do it right, it should work. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, at the watchmaker's lathe here, I'm setting up to file the square. What I'm using is the original shaft for the pinion that you actually use the key to turn, because that one we're reusing. We don't have to make that. So I'm going to set up to clean this square up because it was peened over, and I use this I got a little file guide here, so I want to make sure I don't go further than it's been filed before, and then I'm gonna raise it, and I want to adjust up, so we're a little too low right here. I'm just gonna adjust up a little bit, and hopefully that gets it right where I want it. So then I also have to tell you, my wife said I cannot use the puppy as an excuse for making mistakes. So I'll have to figure something else out on that deal. Anyway, we're lined up square here, and then I'm able to adjust for height by turning this little knob until it doesn't rock anymore, and then I can lock it in. That looks pretty good. So then it's just a matter of, I got my index pin in here already. I should probably count those out because I don't have, oh, it's got reference. Let's see. I'm off. Oh, it should be great. Okay. So then I'm just going to clean that up. Follow my guides. Now, doing it this way, I'll be able to have this all set up for my other one. There. Okay. And then index it over this side up. Just a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. I don't know. Let's see. You zoom in on that. Yeah, it just cleaned up the burrs a little bit. That smushed end. Okay. I'll be right back. I got this one threaded and I have a mark on there where I want to stop. I'm going to go just shy of my mark. So setting it up just like before. That looks pretty good. Okay, we're all set here. File away. Now, any of this you could do without some of this stuff. You could square up an end here in a vise. Like as far as making the cutters, fly cutters are quick to make. You could, if somebody wants to do a fly cutter video, and the mandrel that they're holding it in or whatever, and how that operation goes, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'll do one later. You could even take a piece of flat brass and some files and file out all your teeth. It wouldn't take that long. It'd probably be quicker than what I just did. Simple, with some files, some brass, and some steel rod, you could do all of this. So you don't have to have all the fancy tools. Not that I have any fancy tools, but if you're just repairing something of your own, or you can, if you be inventive, you can do all kinds of stuff. The reason I went through making that disc cutter, the multi-tooth cutter, was it was practice for me for making those things. I'm going to be making them for pinions and cutting wheels. So it was good practice just to go through the motions. And okay, I'm going to have to measure this. It should be right. I clean up some of this. And I won't bore you with that anymore. We'll get back to you in a little bit. Okay, now all we got to do here is make this round hole square. Got to fit a square peg in a round hole. Anyway, if you got a better way of doing this, let me know. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm using a square file. See if you can see that. Anyway, it's a square file. Small one. Small enough to fit into the hole. So we get a little bit through. And I'm just going to slowly tap it through. Carefully, because I don't want to break the pinion. I'm just going to tap it far enough to get some form out of that. Tap the rod back, or the file back through, and then line it up here. Okay. Tap it. Not too far. And I'm going to go back and forth with this file. Now I know this file is a little bit smaller than our squares, so I'll be able to drive this all the way through, and then I'll finish it with a little bit bigger file, and then maybe just hand file a little bit. But this seems to work pretty well. Make sure that squares up there. if you're seeing any of that or not. My big hand in the way. If you can see that. There, that's better. Flip it over, tap it back through. And so on. Last thing I want to do is break the pinion after spending all that time on it. Okay. And there. So that's through. There. Now, I know, like I said, I know that's a little smaller. Then I'll use a bigger file and I'll do the same process. I just need to go a little bit and we'll be right back again. Okay, the pinions are peened onto the steel shafts. We're going to just put a little bit of a dome on this pinion. We'll just keep it running smooth. Oops. Okay. That looks like here. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, can you see that? Just pulling down those edges just a little bit. If I can show you. Where am I? This is really okay. Come on. There we go. See? Just a little dome. Like that. Good. Do the other one. Okay, the power's let down in these main springs, like I said, and we're going to take this apart quick and see what we have on the other side. One thing here is an issue is how do you get this shaft in here and this shaft in here when they're going to mesh together like this. You can see that. Okay? You can't unless you jam it in there. So we're going to have to deal with this piece too. Just tear this apart quick. Let's see what we got going on the other side of the plate. This movement's going to get a complete overhaul. So all the grime and gunk will disappear. And we'll do the pivots and everything else. So pivots and bushings, etc. So let's just see quick. Get this undone. Okay. These little spring wires off of here. There. Okay. Now if this goes smoothly, get it apart. Okay. Things are sticking together. Okay, so we have a square hole on the back. Right back here. And then we have to fix this one up here, which the back side is right there. That's the front side. Okay. So we'll knock that out, the top one, and then I'll knock this other one out, and what we'll have to do is do our work to the movement, put it back together, and have those parts in there when we reassemble. So it'll be a little bit, and I'll get to that, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, we knocked out the good square. Okay, it's got the tab on it yet, which I'm going to use this as a template for the other one we have to make. They're the same, they should be the same. And what I did here is I flipped the plate over, and then I used a flat nose punch like this with a flat on it, and just worked the square, the peened over areas on the square, worked those back to allow it to pass through the hole. So here's your little hole here, right there, that little square hole right there. So we'll make one of these. It's pretty straightforward. Get a piece of brass, same thickness, drill a hole so that our threaded rod goes through there, file this up to the same shape, and we'll put it on. An old piece of brass plate, and then a little super glue. Start cutting away, glue that right on there, the original piece, or the one. You got a perfect template. Okay. Okay, well, I decided to finish the video and just show you guys quick the finished product. So this is a temporary setup. I don't have anything mounted permanently yet, being these blocks here and here. I want to get it all cleaned up and restored first. So there's the two gears. The one goes through the plates. It functions well. Kind of fun. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.